About a month ago, my significant other said he had spoken with my sister and came up with some ideas for my birthday and would I like to hear them. I obviously said yes, and the first thing on the list was a pilotin. I have never had any interest in a pilotin, and as you can see by the spelling in my throwaway username, I can't even spell it right, let alone know anything about it. I said no thanks, it's way too expensive and I have no interest in it. I work out at work where I spin 2-4 times a week and watch YouTube spin videos. I have an hour lunch break and go to the gym then to make sure I actually get my workouts done. After providing that explanation, I followed up multiple times in the week saying please do not buy me a pilotin. If you ordered a pilotin, please cancel the order and return it. Today, the day before my birthday, I walk down into the basement and there's the damn pilotin. I'm immediately pissed off. Ask why when I said countless times I didn't want one, there one is in my basement. My fiancé just stared at me blankly. He thought I would change my mind when I saw it. I maintain that I've told him 10+ times that I don't want one, and why would he expect me to change my mind? We aren't currently speaking because he's pissed I'm not happy with the gift. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He sounds just about as clued into what women want as the people who made that awful pilotin ad that people love to hate. If you specifically told him not to get something and he still gets that exact thing, it's probably a bad sign that he's turning this around to be your fault and something he can be angry about. Never had anyone buy me something that expensive, but literally everyone in my life does this to me. After telling them multiple times, I don't want that, please don't get me that, if it is that versus nothing I would rather have nothing, and they still flipping buy it. It's so frustrating and makes me feel like I'm not a person. Then when I'm not so excited and happy for a gift that I did not want, I'm entitled and selfish. I am sorry he completely disregarded your feelings and the clear communication of not wanting something. I know it doesn't feel good. I feel like you're not pissed about the pilotin itself, but a larger pattern of behavior where you clearly state your wants, needs, do not wants, and then he ignores you, decides he knows your mind better than you, and goes ahead with his own plan and wears you down eventually. Not the idiot friend, but also do you want to deal with this behavior for the rest of your life? My husband values material things highly and gets upset if something he owns gets damaged in any way. And I'm not talking large expensive items. If the spine of a paperback book is opened all the way and cracked, it's ruined. He once returned and reordered a DVD from Amazon 4 times because there were minor cracks on the case. This past Christmas, my parents gifted us a new Apple TV. The remote is glass. We have 2 boys, a very rambunctious almost 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. In January, the 3-year-old picked the remote up off the couch and dropped it, causing it to crack. I was immediately worried because my husband had been having a terrible week. Let me preface the next few sentences by saying that my husband has never been physically abusive in any way toward me or our children. My husband's fuse is short. He is angered easily, and he is not a calm angry person. He screams and shouts and says cruel things. Every little thing the 3-year-old did that week was setting him off, and I was starting to see the 3-year-old being afraid of him. So I told my husband the baby did it. The baby was in a phase of grabbing and throwing anything he could get his hands on, so it was totally plausible. I had assumed that my husband would realize that a tiny defenseless baby would not have done it out of malice and that he would be much easier on the baby than on the 3-year-old. I was wrong. I should have just told him I accidentally dropped it. He would have been furious with me, but that would have been the end of it. From that day on, my husband has shown an obvious and strong favoritism toward our 3-year-old. He's even said on occasion things like, 3-year-old is my favorite. And, I don't like baby. It has honestly broken my heart. The baby feels everything bigger than his brother, and babies are perceptive. Even my mom has commented that she thinks the baby can sense that his father dislikes him. Now to the event I am asking about. Last night, I was cooking dinner and my husband was supposed to be getting the baby down to sleep. He was getting a cup of milk ready for baby when I noticed baby was crawling around with the Apple TV remote in his hand. I mentioned it to my husband so he could go grab the remote from baby. My husband responded with something along the lines of, "What does it matter? He's already ruined it." I responded with, "Funny story. It's actually 3-year-old who broke it." My husband lost it. He called me a liar and said that he couldn't trust me. He blamed me for his dislike of baby, saying, "You'll have to live with the fact that you are the reason I don't like baby." He then told me that I owed him an apology for lying. I absolutely refused. I told him that I would not apologize for trying to protect my child, the 3-year-old. Now he won't even talk to me or be in the same room with me. Not the idiot. Jesus Christ, your husband sounds like an idiot. Like a major one. They're toddlers. They don't understand anything. They break things. If you don't want things broken, don't have children. Also, abuse is more than physical. And children flipping remember it. My dad never hit me. He just threw things and broke my mom's things and yelled and always asked me what was wrong with me and yelled some more. He's calmer now, but I still resent the abuse I suffered. Honestly, take your children and get the hell out of that situation. If your husband is honestly willing to hate his own baby over a broken Apple TV remote, what the hell is he going to do when there is a legitimately major issue that comes along? Anger like this only escalates. You need to get your children out of that situation before it turns violent. Not the idiot, and your husband definitely is. He is a narcissistic. Whilst he isn't physically abusive yet he is definitely tormenting you and your children emotionally. How long until he escalates to physical violence? It sounds like you need to take a long hard look at why you are in this relationship and what your options are. The night I visited my mother and younger brothers at their house. Well, there my mother dropped a wrapped gift in my lap and insisted I open it then and there, despite previously made plans for me to host Christmas at my new house with everyone. She wouldn't take no for an answer. The gift inside was a hideous purple Walmart dress not in my size. The texture of the fabric immediately made me want to scrub my hands. I admit I could have reacted more enthusiastically. I just did not have the energy in me to fake it. My mother was obviously upset at my less than ecstatic reaction. She got very flustered and told me I was free to return it, but she did not have a receipt for the item, and couldn't I just try to like it? Couldn't I just try to appreciate her taste in gifts for once? This sounds like making a mountain out of a molehill, but this has been a pattern for a long time. Previous gifts have included dollar store jewelry that causes me to break out in a rash, multiple years, multiple conversations on why she never saw me wear it, lip gloss that she had opened and liked, etc. Nearly every time she will take the gift back for herself under the guise that at least someone, herself, will get use out of it. It would be one thing if these things came from an acquaintance that did not know me that well. But my mother has known me for 29 years. She was there growing up as the cheap costume jewelry she insisted I wear kept causing infections in my ears. She was there when as a toddler I would scratch myself bloody over clothing textures. She has never in my entire life seen my voluntary wear makeup. I put a lot of thought into the gifts I give. I shop through the year, never leaving things to the last minute. I keep a list on my phone of things people in my life mention they like or would buy for themselves if they could justify the spending. I know I shouldn't hold other people to the same standards I hold myself to. I know I should have just got over it and acted my heart out and quietly donated the dress later. But I could use some perspective and maybe some advice. Am I the idiot for hating the gifts my mother gives me? Not the idiot, but if there is a pattern, you might be the idiot if you don't say anything outright. For example, Mom, I appreciate the thought, but the items themselves I wouldn't use, or I appreciate you getting me something, but you don't have to. This really depends on how you feel regarding receiving the gift. If you feel you deserve something from your mother every year that you would use, that seems a far cry given her pattern. My older sister is like this. She gifts things she didn't want or stuff she thinks you ought to like and never puts any thought into any of it. She gives me romance novels she already read, complete with page creases, a microwave she didn't like. I had zero use for it as I already had a good built-in one, and one year tried to give me a dog she didn't want anymore. But of course she's the first one to get upset if someone gifts a gift card which she thinks is tacky. My grandma does the same thing. The weirdest, most unusable gifts in the world. We just accept them with a fake smile and donate. Your mom may be doing it intentionally, or she may really be as clueless as she sounds. I'd just stop expecting anything decent, smile when you open it, and return or donate it as soon as possible. To me, it's not worth the stress of confrontation. Just, sadly, lower your expectations. Try to imagine being around someone who never even tells little white lies that every other person routinely does. My boyfriend is a great guy, I love him to bits, and he doesn't have a malicious bone in his body, but he prioritizes being honest above everything. He's not one of those brutal honesty people, and he doesn't give his own opinion without it being solicited and pass it off as just being honest, but he will tell the truth without sugarcoating it as well. Examples would be when a mutual friend who is extremely obese was upset about not being able to find a partner and asked us why he wasn't having success. My boyfriend asked him if he actually wanted his opinion, and when our friend said yes, my boyfriend said because you're obese, you don't take care of your health, and people don't see that as an attractive quality in a partner. I know he was trying to help and actually really likes this friend, but holy crap. Other times, I've bought him gifts for birthdays or Christmas and he said, I appreciate the time you put into choosing this for me, but it's not really something I'd enjoy. I'd rather you return it, so you don't waste your money, or he'll sometimes stop eating when I cook something. I'll ask not feeling well, and he'll say I feel alright, I just don't like this, but thank you for cooking tonight. Same deal if I cut my hair or get a new outfit. He'll always tell me I look beautiful, but if I ask him what he really thinks, he'll be 100% honest, as in it makes you look like you have a muffin top, or I think that style ages you if he doesn't like it. This came to a head recently when I brought him to a party with people from my work. We were mingling, and my token nosy coworker started to chat him up. It was going well, and he was entirely polite to her until she started oversharing stories about her upbringing despite us not reciprocating, and then said, "Okay, your turn," to him. He said, "No thank you." She said, "Was your childhood really that boring?" At which point he says, "I wouldn't say so. I just find the question to be extremely invasive, and I don't feel like sharing that information with you. I've just met you, and I'm not sure why you'd share what you've shared with me." I pulled him away after that and scolded him. I really do appreciate the fact that I can trust he'll always be honest with me, and I don't need to worry about hidden feelings. And he's never cruel in his honesty, and only speaks up when directly asked or put on the spot, like at the party. But at the same time, I'm used to literally everyone else telling white lies. Just saying thanks for small gifts and pretending they like it, or saying yeah, I had a big snack earlier, when they don't eat a meal you made, or even telling small lies, or at least hiding the truth to annoying people in social situations, for the sake of keeping the peace. I don't know if I'm the idiot, or if he is, or if this is just a personality difference. You're the idiot. Maybe you should stop asking him for 100% honesty if you don't want to hear it. He even does lie at first based on what you've said. "You're beautiful, what do you really think?" Sounds like a great guy. He's polite but honest. The problem is with everyone else expecting him to adhere to nonsensical social convention. I'm going to say that you are the idiot. It feels like you're offended by his honesty when it seems more like you're offended by the truth. If you don't really want the truth, don't ask. As far as how he handled the situation of telling personal stories to strangers, I wholeheartedly agree with him. Just my opinion. No idiots here. I'm a pretty blunt person, but I accept gifts, even if I don't like them, and I would never tell my friend the reason why he isn't having luck dating is because he's fat. I think, like you, that it's sometimes better to gloss over things. That said, your boyfriend just chooses to live 100% honestly. That's fine, and you shouldn't try to change that. I don't really think there's an issue here, as you say he's never cruel and only says something when asked. My country currently allows gatherings of up to 20 people indoors, and it's my brother's birthday, so my parents organized a birthday party. We told his high school friends, got cake, gifts, you know. Standard basic party apparatus. The plan was afterward my family would go to the cinema with him and come back home. I don't like cinemas. So I said I'd stay back. Party happens, all is great. Most of the cake is eaten. About 4 slices are left. I haven't had any yet, not for any particular reason. I had an assignment due, so I couldn't stay long. Brother's happy. My parents come in, ask me to clean the mess once I've submitted my assignment, and in return I can have the rest of the cake. I submit my assignment, tell my boyfriend. He comes, we both clean up together, because he's a sweetheart. Y'all. The mess 20 teenagers leave is not to be underestimated. My boyfriend and I finished the rest of the cake. Like I said, it's almost 2 slices each. More correctly, 1.5 slices each. My parents know about my boyfriend, he walks in a lot, so his presence isn't an issue. My parents walk in, and my brother asks where I put his last slice. And I go, what last slice? I ate what was left. This annoyed him, and he starts complaining about how it's known tradition that the last slice is for the birthday kid. I try to apologize because I genuinely didn't know, but he's mad at me. My parents intervene and suggest that to make it up, I should buy my brother a smallish birthday cake since I did technically eat it and they weren't expecting me to actually eat the amount of cake. I flat out said no, I'm sorry, but it's not my responsibility. My brother's determined I'm an idiot, my parents sort of blame me. So, am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. If a cake is bought for someone's birthday you normally just have in mind, better put this in the fridge in case they want more, since it's their cake and normally their favorite flavor. Though you did help clean up and deserved a piece you missed and share with your boyfriend. Probably shouldn't have ate all of it, though, and I don't think you need to buy a new one over it. It was a mistake and an apology should do. Not the idiot. I would tell your parents that you're not going to buy another cake, period. They told you that you could have the rest of the cake as payment for cleaning up after the birthday party. That automatically makes this whole mess their fault. They should own up to it like mature adults, apologize to you and your brother, and, if they're so keen on making it right, go buy your brother a small cake. Your parents said you could eat it, so you did. I've also never heard of any tradition where birthday person gets the last slice, they get the first slice, that's the tradition. Usually the whole cake gets shared at the party, there shouldn't be any leftovers. He had the whole party to eat all the cake. What's happened here is he fancied some cake after the cinema and is cross that it's all gone, but I don't think you were an idiot for eating it.